If you're someone who says things like, I don't have the time, or I need to find the time, then today's podcast is for you, Signet. It's time to outgrow that ugly duckling, chasing your own tail feathers way of limited thinking. I'm going to show you why it's how you're thinking about time that is the problem, not your lack of it. Welcome to Hexotica, the podcast for wild-hearted women and gender-diverse creatives who refuse to live life by the boring rule book. I'm your host, Christine, and this is episode 6. So welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Anyone that has been following this so far, watching every episode, listening to every episode, I really appreciate your support, and I hope that it has given you some inspiration, some confidence to maybe go out and start a side hustle or a business, or to at least be a bit more consistent with your content creation. So I had a pretty quiet weekend. I've just been working on some new things that are coming up, and keeping an eye on the content that I have made that has been going viral. I was so happy to see, as I talked about in the last episode, that I made an Instagram post go viral based on what I knew about SEO and a few other tricks that I've learned over the years with social media management. But that Instagram reel has now gained me 60 new followers and has 1,125 likes. This is pretty amazing after having so many weeks of just like 1 or 2 or maybe 6 likes at the most. Anybody who is doing Instagram or has done it for a while knows it can be such a hard slog, especially when you've had an inactive account or you haven't been doing it consistently for very long. So I applied everything that I knew and I made that sucker go viral, and it's now on the 3rd page for looking up Goldfields Gothic Festival. Now, 3rd page is not great, but give it some time. It does take a while for SEO to work, and I've also got to keep the engagement up on my Instagram account to give that links going in and out as well. So if you'd like to learn how to make a content piece go viral, or at least give it a chance to go viral by applying SEO, I'm going to be running an SEO mini course next week. So you can sign up for that with the link below that will be in the show notes of this. And it's just going to be a very low cost, very easy 5-day course to teach you how to look up keywords, how to know what will compete, and how to apply those to any piece of content, Instagram Reels, a YouTube video, whatever it might be. My next personal goal is to have a YouTube video go viral. So let's see if I can do that. All right, so let's get into today's topic. We're going to be talking about time management strategies. How time might be currently whipping your ass. So this is when you're waking up and you're just never feeling good about the day ahead of you, right? You're just feeling oppressed from the very get-go, from the time that you wake up in the morning. And you know you've got 1,000 things to do, and there's always at least one bullshit or monster task that you'd rather just not have to do at all. And you think about that task right in the morning. That's what you think. We wake up thinking about this one bullshit task and all the other things. It just comes in on you, right? So before you've even had your first coffee, you're mentally juggling errands, your life admin, the needs of your friends, family, or even of your pet Peanut. Like even your dog's needs can feel oppressive when you're really, really busy. And then there's a new incoming list of urgent requests that come in from other people. Or there's the 14-way overdue random task that you told yourself that you remember, but you keep forgetting. So whether you're home alone, or you're just waking up, or you're trying to get out the door while helping other people get out the door, there's always this unrelenting urgency at the start of your days. You feel pushed, not pulled into work. And then you get to work and you tell yourself, I'll just quickly check this email. And then poof, it's 11:14 a.m. and you've accomplished nothing except responding to Janet's pointless, just circling back email and watching a corgi learn how to skateboard on Instagram. So you pull your concentration back in again. You finally get started again. But then it's time for that meeting you have, or the pickup, or the drop-off, or the phone call. Remember this, remember that. And so it goes throughout your whole day until you massively crash out on your sofa at the end of the day. And as for your own priorities, the things that would actually move you closer to what you want in your life, those get shoved to the back burner so that you can play whack-a-mole with everyone else's emergencies and all the other institutional deadlines that capitalism thrives upon. Every Monday, you promise yourself that this will be the week you finally get to that thing that you want to do. But somehow, every single week plays out exactly the same. Wildly busy, but mysteriously unproductive. Putting out fires while the big important dream projects gather dust in the corner. Feeling like you're already behind before Monday morning coffee. And round the carousel of chaos you go. Does this sound familiar? So here's what's really going on here. You don't have a time problem. You have a time management problem. You're ridiculously busy because life is in control of you. You don't have any time because you're living like a pawn in the game of life instead of playing life like a game. You've got to take ownership of the whole damn board, Chicky Boo. So here's why it's never about finding the time. It's about making the time and a little bit on how to do that. The issue with finding time is that it's always going to prioritize other people and external things first, right? Like they come first and then we find the time. We're filling up our schedule with whatever is thrown our way, never questioning the value of anything in regard to our own wants and needs. When we make time, we're intentionally reviewing all of our commitments through the lens of what we want. We're asking what we value most in the world. We're being selective with what we're going to do with our time. And we're saying no to a lot of those things because those things are not going to help us achieve our goals. So making time means prioritizing yourself and your desires. It means not blaming your friends or family, your job, or your spicy brain for stealing your time. It means you take responsibility for your time and you fully own it. And this is why it's so hard, because we, especially women, are not told or not encouraged to prioritize our own needs and desires. So if you're feeling really extra busy, it's a good thing to start questioning how aligned with your own values and your own desires is how you're spending your time and all the commitments that you are saying yes to. When you learn to work with the demands of your life and any biological time blindness that you might have been born with, you can make it work all for you. So you can reverse it from reacting to life to intentionally designing and gamifying your time to align with your values. So making time is a value-first, intentional, purposeful, and spiritual approach to managing time. It's the way of living where you wake up feeling naturally full of gratitude, where you can go to bed with a soul-level satisfaction that you did something that day and that was toward your dreams. You made a step toward your dreams in that day, and you can go to bed feeling a lot more satisfied. So this is possible for you, and I want to show you exactly how it is possible, no matter how busy you may think you are right now. But it does require you being radically honest with yourself about what you want in every decision you make about how you choose to spend your time. So let's get into 3 time management strategies that are going to blow your old concept of time out of your way. 3 powerful concepts that may help you understand what I mean by owning your time like you are the game owner. Able to enjoy your time and have some fucking fun with it in a spiritually aligned sense. A more powerful, more embodied sense of understanding your time that'll make you feel happier and more alive. So the first strategy is to make self-trust your goal, not just getting things done. If you've ever stared at a to-do list thinking, I have to do all this shit, followed by, I hate this shit, then you know how oppressive productivity can feel, right? But here's what I want you to understand. Time management strategies aren't just about ticking boxes. They're about your relationship with yourself. When you say you'll do something and you actually do it, you start building self-trust. You become the kind of person who can rely on yourself. And that's next level confidence. And it bleeds into everything. But you cannot build a relationship with yourself unless you know yourself. And this is why I always recommend creating a life manifesto and actively spending time every single day working on what life you want and thinking about what you want. Spend a lot of time really asking yourself about your deepest desires because it's simple. When you are always 100% certain that you will get done whatever you want to get done because you told yourself you would, because it aligns with what you really, really want in life, that's self-trust at work. Shit getting done then becomes just the result of that commitment to yourself. And that commitment to yourself becomes a lot easier because it's so aligned with what you know you really want at the deepest, deepest level of your heart. Make sense? Strategy number 2. Schedules don't restrict your time. They create it. I resisted scheduling for years because I thought it would feel like a cage. My creative brain wanted flow, I wanted freedom, and I wanted the option to wander off chasing shiny ideas. But here's what actually happened. I got caught up in an endless loop of putting out urgent fires and never touching the long-term business building stuff that I knew would actually level me and my business up. So when I was a new social media manager, I'd spend all my best morning brain energy on routine client commitments. And then I'd push my own marketing to the midnight shift if I got to it at all, which usually I didn't. It took me years to overcome guilt for simply prioritizing my own business activities during the day. There was a lot of imposter guilt in there too, like a lot. I mean, it's actually a bit of a mindfuck going from an employee to a freelancer and learning how to not think of work like an employee. But the first boss level unlock for me was realizing that a schedule doesn't steal your freedom. It creates and it protects it. So it's like having a magical map in an RPG. Like, sure, you could wander aimlessly through the forest for 10 hours, or you could follow the damn quest markers and get to the treasure faster. So that's what a schedule can help you do. So here's why a gamified, time-blocked schedule is a neurodivergent creative's secret weapon. And I will swear by this. Time blocking, just in case you don't know, time blocking is where you divide your day up into blocks of time, right? And each are dedicated to a specific task or activity. If you time block your entire week, you know that everything you need to do is going to get done so long as you make a commitment to yourself to do it, right? This is where the essential self-trust comes in again, right? So I hated and resisted the idea of time blocking my schedule for a long time. I spent years making all kinds of schedules, diaries, spreadsheets, lists, and never completing the task I put into them, which is, very typical for ADHD. Until everything changed for me the year I studied everything I could to find out how my ADHD brain worked and what would help me feel more motivated. So I discovered that the reason why neurospicy people love spreadsheets and calendars so much is that it helps us externalize our chaotic thoughts and ideas, right? Like it gives us a sense of control and of calm. But the problem starts when we forget to actually use the fancy spreadsheets or planners that we spend hours obsessively setting up and writing in and making beautiful, right? Making plans is fun, but following them is boring. So things get a lot more interesting, though, when you combine a time block schedule with what psychologists call elements of interest for ADHD brains. And this is what blew me out of the water and what I think every ADHD person needs to understand about how to work with their brains. Element of interests include risk-taking, problem-solving, reveling in skills, social interaction, speed, applause, rhythm, color, romance, surprise, action, suspense, humor, or multi-sensory stimulation. They're anything that can make a boring task more interesting. So a gamified time block schedule using elements of interest can help give you structure, predictability, and crucially for ADHD, constraint. This is kind of almost like the secret sauce, constraint. Time blocking, constraint that's gamified. So this can help you manage impulsivity and common issues around starting a task, switching a task, hyper-focusing, and most importantly, which I know is a big problem for me, how to stop doing a task. Because too often we can start doing something and it just becomes very difficult for our brains to get out of it, to pull ourselves out. It can actually feel almost painful to someone with ADHD to pull ourselves out of doing something that we really love doing that seems so interesting. So for example, here are the elements that I use personally in my time-blocked Google Sheets schedule. I set timers for each block to constrain the task to a set time with a deadline. I use different colors for done, doing, and not done. I create a reward system and I give myself points for doing a task, for doing it on time, for doing it ahead of time, or doing it while, if I do like a whole series in a row, I get bonus points. And then I create an entire bonus point level for extra things that I want to do, but that aren't critical, like washing the car. So I score each day and I collect weekly scores. So I compare my weekly score to the score that I had last week. So I'm essentially competing against myself. And I try beating my own score week to week. And then I reward myself for any activity that I do that was really hard or really boring. So that gets like extra points. And I reward myself for any long, successful task streak if I have it for several hours, for several days, or several weeks. So that's extra bonus points if I have a really long streak. So this is how I compete with myself. And this is how I encourage business owners, anyone who wants to get better or has imposter syndrome, to stop trying to compete with other people. This is how you can compete with yourself and make it really fun for yourself. A close friend of mine asked me once, like, well, how do you reward yourself, Christine? Like, what do you do when you have a really great week? And I realized with a big laugh that I reward myself with humor, one of the elements, straight from the gameplay, right? Like, I rate myself with color codes, emojis, and gamer phrases. So when I have a really good week, I'll get like a super bonus point level that I've made for myself that is labeled flawless victory. Or if I have a bad week, it's KO'd, try again next time, or mission failed, like literal gaming phrases. And once I started gamifying and time blocking in this way, I literally went from chronic procrastinator to careful planner. I stopped seeing my calendar as a boss barking orders at me, and I started seeing it as just a game tally board. It became fun. Following a schedule, doing tasks, stopping, starting, switching became fun. This was a game changer for me. It literally changed my life. So if you want to see exactly how I do this, check out my mini course, Level Up Your Day, the Time Hack Toolkit. I'll leave the link in the show notes below. Time management strategy number 3. Strategically schedule on anything that will help you with emotional regulation. I have so much to do today that I'm going to need to spend 3 hours in prayer in order to be able to get it all done. Martin Luther King Jr. said that. And it's indicative of how successful people aren't just good at planning, they're good at keeping their heads calm and in the game. They're good at staying calm and not letting their emotions wreck their productivity. So understanding how to regulate your nervous system is one of the success and productivity equivalents of like understanding how insulin is important in weight loss. Yeah, it's foundational at a biological level. So You can't just think our way through all of our tasks, okay? Thinking through a to-do list isn't enough. We have to feel what it is that we're doing. You have to feel how we respond to each task on that list. So this means tuning into your emotions and noticing how they're showing up in your body. So for example, have you ever had a task that you know you absolutely must do, but it made you feel physically sick in your stomach every time you thought about it? That physical feeling, it came from an emotion. And behind that emotion, there was a hidden thought about the task. Maybe it was shame or imposter syndrome. Maybe it was fear of failure. Maybe it was fear of success. This is what I mean by embodied alignment. Our nervous system mirrors the intentions of our mind. We aren't just thinking, we are feeling it. If your brain is fried from stress or fizzing about excitement, you're going to lose focus. So joyful, happy news can be just as dysregulating as stressful, terrible news. So you can lose focus for hours, leaving the rest of your day as a write-off. And I know this has happened many, many times, and it especially happens when you're just starting a new business. So I learned this the hard way. When I freelanced, when I was a new freelancer, every time I would get a new client, I'd get so excited that I'd basically have to take the rest of the day off. Like I would have to go to the bar and have a glass of champagne, or I'd have to skip around the house, or go for a walk, or go see a friend, or go shopping. The excitement was like too much for me to handle. So eventually I learned to stop trying to push myself to get back into work right away, right? Like I learned that I needed to schedule in calm the fuck down breaks into my day, especially after I did like client video calls. So whether it was good news or bad news, I would schedule in time after I knew I would have an event in my day that was going to emotionally upset me or, get me excited or stress me out. So I would do things like, short yin yoga YouTube sessions or desk meditations, or I take the dogs out for a walk, or I take a shower, or I would just sit down and journal out big brain dumps. Okay. So whatever it is that you can do to regulate your nervous system is going to help you be more productive, and it's going to help you manage your time. Because this is a big part of mastering time management that nobody talks about, right? You can't manage your time if you can't manage your emotions. And this goes deeper than simply scheduling time off or relaxation me time. It takes intentional, deeply restorative activities to calm down a frazzled nervous system. Watching TV or drinking champagne are not what your body needs at these times. So to give you an example of what I mean, here's what I do. Every 3 months, like clockwork, I schedule full body massages or blissful yoga nidra sessions. And if I can't afford a day spa visit, I'll just go forest bathing because I live on the edge of a national forest. Or I'll go down to the coffee shop or chocolate shop, because I've got a chocolate shop at the end of my hill, and I'll just spend a few hours journaling out my thoughts. The point is that I do not wait until I feel burned out or like I need it. I anticipate the necessity of it. Waiting to need relaxation time is basically reacting to time. Designing life is planning days off and relaxation time before there's a need of it. Because if there's a need of it, then it's already too late. The effects of a dysregulated nervous system will already be present in this case if you are working until you need time off. And this is going to look like overeating, overdrinking, revenge bedtime procrastination, late nights scrolling all night on TikTok, or any kind of numbing out. And it will often always happen at the end of the day because you've been exhausting yourself trying to stay functional, just getting through your day. So the more you intentionally schedule in time to help your body stay calm and centered throughout your day, the more energy and focus you will gain, and the less time off you're going to have to need, or less days you're going to have to write off, or less hours you're going to spend up all night on TikTok. So this has a very cumulative effect. You'll find that you'll be able to start showing up more consistently for yourself. You'll be more engaged and you'll be more focused. And ultimately, you'll be more satisfied with how your days went. Self-care like this can be extremely helpful to you for any bad habits or addictions you may be struggling with as well. Like if you have anything that you are doing too much, it's probably because you have a dysregulated nervous system and you need to pull back and take more time out for self-care. Deep, deep relaxation, self-care to get in touch with yourself and, importantly, with what it is that you desire and what you really need in your life. So are you ready to stop letting time raw dog your life? Not having enough time is one of the biggest obstacles creative people have to starting an online side hustle or business. But I often find that it's because of one of two things. One, they have not worked out what they truly want or value, which makes self-trust and thus time management impossible. Or they often are trying to do way too much and not in the right order. Like focusing on growing an Instagram following before they even have an email newsletter and welcome sequence set up, which is a huge mistake. So I've created my Swan Transformation Marketing Strategy Guidebook to help simplify how to get started no matter how busy you may be. It's a free 30-page PDF printable resource guide of every single step to help you start, grow, and run an online business in order. It's in checklist form with loads of clickable resources to help you work through each step one by one. I've also included all the mindset, goal-setting, time management strategies, and weekly self-coaching steps that you'll need to build self-trust as you scale your business. Gamification is itself an essential motivational strategy that I include in all of my educational content. It underscores all of my Swan Transformation Strategy mentoring programs. So start changing your life today by building an online side hustle or business and mastering marketing to become a money-making marketician. You can download the free step-by-step guidebook by clicking the link below in the show notes or below the video. Thank you so much for joining me today on Hey Exotica. I hope you've learned something about time management that helps you feel that your day can be a little bit less hectic, a little bit more fun when you gamify it, and hopefully help you feel a little bit more in control. Join me next week where I'm going to be talking about marketing niches, why they are so important, why you need one, and how you can find one. Until then, have a great week and thank you for tuning in. Bye!